morning, Bucknutters. Welcome into this very special edition of the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on National Signing Day. It is Wednesday, February 1st, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, joined by Alex Gleitman. Alex, thank you very much for joining me. And let's start with Marvin Wilson. I've said for weeks, I know you have too, that it's been an extreme long shot that he would commit to Ohio State. Then you had all the smoke yesterday, on Twitter and everything that Marvin Wilson might be leaning toward Ohio State. There was a young man on Twitter that is a high school student who was saying that Marvin Wilson is leaning toward Ohio State. Just give the listeners the latest on what you're hearing on Marvin Wilson. Is there really a legitimate chance he could pick Ohio State later today?
I mean, legitimate chance? I guess nothing surprises me in recruiting, right? I mean, especially with Urban Meyer. Maybe he has a Sharif Floyd dream. That would be nice for Ohio State. But, if you can't get the tone of my voice here, I'm not very confident that Ohio State's going to land Marvin Wilson. I think it's going to be LSU. I actually think there's been more behind the scenes as far as confidence goes from Florida State than there has Ohio State. So if he wasn't going to go to LSU, just from, getting the vibes of the staff of his Final Four schools, I would say LSU probably feels the most confident maybe out of any school, including LSU, that they're going to land Marvin Wilson. But, right now I don't see it happening. Could it happen? Yeah, you never know. Anything could happen. Urban Meyer's a great recruiter. Him and Larry Johnson gave a great pitch, and, Marvin Wilson might just surprise some people. But personally, this guy's not going to be fooled by the late smoke, and I would love to be wrong for the Bucknutters, but I'm picking Marvin Wilson to LSU.
Yeah, I think you'll be on point with that prediction. Another young man that will make his announcement later today is Thayer Munford from Massillon. What's the latest with Thayer Munford? Will he pick Ohio State later today?
Yeah, I do feel good on that one. Seems like it's been Ohio State now for 2 weeks since he took his official visit to campus the weekend of January 20th. He returned last weekend with his mother for an unofficial visit. I think that one kind of, just sealed the deal. Urban and the staff probably wanted to meet mom and vice versa. The week before, Thayer was there with his legal guardians, Nate and Rebecca Moore. Nate Moore, of course, is the head coach at Massillon, Washington. And so, I can't really see this one going in another direction. I think at 1 p.m. today, he's going to sign with Ohio State, and he's going to be a Buckeye, the third offensive lineman in this class.
Well, that's very good news. Let's look ahead real quick to the 2018 class. Obviously, Ohio State already has 2 commitments in the 2018 class, a couple of very good commitments. What are we looking at as far as numbers for the 2018 class? I know it's early, but is this going to be somewhat similar to this year, kind of a small class, going to be a moderately big class? What are we looking at as far as the 2018 class for Ohio State numbers-wise?
Well, I think if you look at the numbers, you're probably going to see something as far as the number of seniors and things like that, similar to this year. So the people would probably say smaller class. I think with Ohio State's class projected by me at least to be at 21 members for 2017. I think it's going to be a little bit bigger than that in 2018. I'll go 23 to 25. But again, it's early. We'll see what happens. Who transfers, who leaves early for the NFL, medical hardships, things of that nature. So there's a lot of time here, but I'm going to go with at least 23 members in the class of 2018, and I think they'll be able to get up to 25.
Who are maybe some of the top guys in that 2018 class, Alex, that could perhaps commit early to Ohio State? Would Jackson Carman be a guy that could commit early? Is he going to be a guy that kind of waits it out? And maybe who are some other guys that might commit early?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Jack Carman. He might be the number one guy on Ohio State's board and many other teams' boards for 2018. He's an outstanding offensive tackle from Fairfield, Ohio. And, I originally thought Jackson was going to maybe commit this spring, but I think with all the attention he's getting, he might want to enjoy the recruiting process a little bit and drag things out through the summer at the very least, take some visits. And I wouldn't be shocked if he takes a bunch of official visits before he makes his decision. I don't expect it to go all the way down to signing day, and I do think he's going to be a Buckeye. But, I think it could go a little longer than people hope for. Outside of him, another great kid in Ohio, Jalen Gill. Very talented player. I think he's going to be a Buckeye. I think it's going to happen before his senior season. I know he's saying he's going to, take officials and make a decision probably sometime during his senior season. But I think, who knows? Maybe he's a Friday Night Lights guy. Maybe he's spring game type of guy. I think he's a Buckeye all the way, but he might want to enjoy that recruitment a little bit more as well. There's a number of other in-state talents that I think could be Buckeyes: Dallas Gant, Chris Oates, Aeneas Hawkins. The list goes on and on. It's going to be a very good class in Ohio for 2018, which hasn't really been the case the last couple of years. But then outside the state, there's a number of excellent talents. Tight end Jeremy Ruckert from Lindenhurst, New York, tight end. He should decide no later than around his birthday in the middle of August. I have a feeling it might come before then. And right now, the Buckeyes are in the driver's seat after his latest visit for Junior Day just last weekend. But, that was his third visit. He was at Friday Night Lights. He was at the Michigan game. And then he drove after his basketball game last Friday night, 9 hours in the car with his parents and his girlfriend to come check out Ohio State. And that says a lot to me, and everything I'm hearing out here on the East Coast says he's going to be a Buckeye as things stand now. And then the other guy I'd like to throw out there is Taron Vincent, defensive tackle, IMG Academy, originally from the Baltimore area, son of Troy Vincent. And, he's really high on the Buckeyes. He has them number 1, Florida State number 2, and then I think he's got Clemson number 3. But I've been hearing he wants to pull the trigger on the Buckeyes. His parents want him to wait it out a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I see him picking Ohio State and Larry Johnson. Thanks for the insights, Alex. Really appreciate it, Alex Gleitman. And for the listeners out there, here's today's schedule over at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. At 11:15 today, we are getting all 9 early enrollees for the Buckeyes in this 2017 class. That includes, of course, Jeffrey Okuda, Baron Browning, Sean Wade, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Myers, Tate Martell, Isaiah Pryor, Brendan White, and Marcus Williamson. So all 9 of the early entries, we will interview them again at 11:15, really, but between 11:15 and noon. And then at noon and until 1 o'clock is the Urban Meyer Collins Show on 97.1 The Fan. And Coach Meyer's going to be on there just for the first half of the show, and then he's going to give way to his new quarterbacks coach, Ryan Day, and then to his new linebackers coach, Bill Davis. And then the main event, in my opinion, because there's so much intrigue with this guy, is Kevin Wilson will be the final segment on the Collins Show. So really looking forward to see what Kevin Wilson says on Urban Meyer's Collins Show, probably around 12:45, 12:50 later today. And then there's a little break in the action, and then at 2 p.m. today, we get Urban Meyer for about 20 minutes, so it's going to be great talking to Coach Meyer. First time we've talked to him since the loss against Clemson, and then after we talk to Coach Meyer, we get Director of Player Personnel Mark Pantoni at 2:20. So keep it locked to Bucknuts for all that. It's going to be wall-to-wall coverage. Can't wait for all of this later today. What an exciting day. Thanks again to Alex Gleitman, and thanks to all of you for tuning into the show. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.